Am I the butthole for setting up my ex-husband look like a bad father? I'll keep this short. When my and ex's daughter Megan was turning 13, she wanted a tiered Harry Potter cake. She loves the movies. She was very specific in what she wanted. I told her as gently as I could that I didn't think we'd be able to afford that. And my ex took that opportunity to be the fun parent and said in a doting voice, "Oh baby, don't worry, Daddy will get you your cake." She was all smiles and ran off to get her bags. I told him if he was going to promise this to order it early, because bakeries require advance order. He got all huffy and said he knew what the F he was doing and I should mind my business. I said anything involving our daughter is my business. He said he didn't need my help, and I should just handle the birthday party and he'd get the cake. I said okay, then they left for the weekend. I know my ex. He puts things off that aren't about him. I knew he was going to forget to order. Usually I'd pester him so he wouldn't forget. But he said he didn't need my help, so I decided to not bring it up unless he did. But I did call a friend I have who started decorating cakes to order the cake from her. It cost a bit more than I'd have liked, but not as much as I'd been worried it would. Well, he never brought the cake up again. At least not until the day before her birthday, where he called me, frantic. He forgot to order the cake. And now none of the bakeries will take his order without tacking on a massive fee, because there's no way they can have the cake ready unless they focus their full staff on one cake. I was going to tell him not to worry, I ordered the cake for him. But then he says, "Why didn't you remind me?" I just snapped and said he needed to figure this out and he better have a cake tomorrow, then I hung up. He brought a cake. A plain white sheet cake with red trim and one of those print-out sugar decals on the front of Harry Potter and his two friends. And a wax 11 candle. She was turning 13. He revealed the cake during her party, so everyone was sitting quiet and Megan looked heartbroken and tried to be nice, but she asked what happened to the cake she wanted. Ex floundered and I let him for a few seconds before laughing, "Haha, just kidding." And then I went and pulled the cake I ordered from the kitchen. Megan lit up and everyone laughed, and it was just one huge joke and the rest of the party went great. But after everyone went home and Megan was in her room, ex tried to lay into me about humiliating him and letting him look like a bad father, and I told him the only one who made him look bad was him. I think I was justified, but some mutual friends think I should have just told him I got the cake to keep things civil between us. Am I the butthole? Edit. I never told Megan or even planned to tell her, not until she was older maybe, but she started acting very chilly to ex for a long while after her birthday party, and when he asked her why, she admitted to almost walking into the kitchen when he and I were whisper arguing the night of her birthday. She found out he'd completely forgotten to order the cake and the joke cake was actually the real cake he got her. So she was very cross with him for a long time afterwards. Edit 2. To everyone thinking I purposefully waited to have him reveal the joke cake before showing the cake I ordered, I didn't. I'd planned on pulling him aside before the party and letting him know I just went ahead and ordered a cake for him. Then we'd taken the big cake and leave whatever he brought in the kitchen. But he showed up after all the guests had arrived. So I didn't have time to grab him before he sat the sheet cake box on the dining room table where everyone saw it. And I knew everyone would notice us taking his short pink box into the kitchen and coming back out with a taller white one. I thought on my toes. Edit 3. Sorry, but I can't post a cake tax picture because I only got one picture of her cake that day. I'd asked my brother to take pics for me since I was trying to handle everything else, but he got distracted, never asking him again. And the pic has Megan and all her friends around the cake, and I'd prefer to not post pics of other people's children, even with them obscured, online. Also, my friend doesn't bake anymore. She likes to try new stuff, and baking/cake decorating was another thing she got into but lost interest in. But currently she's very into photography. NTA. You actually saved him from looking like a bad father, putting that in quotes because he doesn't look like one, he is one, by having the cake she wanted ready and making it look like his crappy contribution was just a joke. I am extremely glad that this man is your ex and that you are there to be a real parent to your daughter. Yeah, but he was mad that I let him feel humiliated instead of just showing him I got the cake. I'll admit I wanted him to feel like crap for forgetting Megan's cake. He deserved to feel like crap for it. Not the butthole. This here. He did, Megan didn't. And Megan didn't. Sure, she knows the truth about her dad's crappy cake, but everyone else at the party gets to believe it was all a joke. Megan wasn't humiliated at any stage of this. At least, not for very long. I bet she felt pretty humiliated when Daddy Dearest revealed his cake with the wrong age on it. But Mom's thinking ahead saved the day. The fact that it had the wrong age on it is probably why the whole thing was so easily declared a joke. It sounds like it was all done pretty smoothly. If I were that age and that happened at my friend's birthday, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have thought twice about it. Agreed. Thinking of how this plays out, it sounds like an elaborate dad joke to anyone who isn't mom, ex-husband, or now their daughter. NTA. X is the a-hole, completely. And to blame Op, who is no longer obligated to harass him into being an adult, for not reminding him is insane to me. Megan didn't even know that this was anything other than a silly joke played by her parents. It wasn't until he started giving out that she even found out. Funny thing is, if the idiot had been relieved and had shut up about it, Megan wouldn't know his deadbeat dad forgot about her. Then again, the fact that she doesn't remember her age should have given her a first clue. And Megan didn't have to. Right, he had one job for this party by the sounds of it. Yep. And guarantee this F-up of his will not teach him a thing. NTA. This is one of those types that makes everything about him, doesn't reflect on his part, and doesn't learn from his mistakes. Look how he tried to turn it around and make his F-up into her embarrassing him. Tool. My father is like that. We no longer speak. And he couldn't even do that. Hey, he had all kinds of jobs. He had to show up, he had to bring a cake, he had to get candles, he had to remember how old his daughter was, he had to come up with excuses for his disaster of a cake that his ex saved him from, the list goes on. NTA. It sounds like to everyone on the outside that you two were in on it and just teasing your daughter. He's the only one that had to sit there and crap his pants because he effed up. He should have dropped to his knees and thanked you and asked how much he owed you for the damned cake. But he didn't, which is one of many reasons we're no longer together. Next time, save the cake for a private party, or later, and don't give him a parachute. Because I doubt this is the first time he made you look like an awful parent so he could be the fun parent. Not the first, no. When we were together, he was constantly going behind my back, ignoring punishments for Megan, and just making me out to be some villain while he was daddy, the hero. To her. She's not falling for his crap anymore since I stopped saving his ass. I disagree with saving the cake for a private party later. I think you did it right. If you'd left it alone, your daughter would have felt humiliated in front of her friends. That's not the sort of thing a 13-year-old can usually just shrug off. This was you doing what was best for your daughter rather than being vindictive. Did you let him squirm a bit? Sure, and that's okay. Because ultimately you were concerned for your daughter, and that makes you a good parent, which is much better than being the fun parent, even though it doesn't always feel that way. Mother of 3, one 14-year-old stepson, and this is a really good answer right here. Humiliated the dad without humiliating the daughter, and daughter will find out eventually, and does. Kids pick up on the crafty parent being crafty. Thankfully. Kids pick up on the crafty parent being crafty. Thankfully. I don't think the crafty parent really understands that either. Not my ex, but a friend's ex is awful. The thing she has done of over years and the way she has set herself up as the good parent is starting to crumble as the kids get older. The kids are old enough to question, reason, and understand that sometimes people lie and manipulate to be hateful. I've had to bite my tongue and walk away or just tell them they need to talk to their parents about a few questions they have asked me. If the crafty parent does realize, they just double down and blame the other good parent for poisoning their child against them. My dad personally liked to believe that my mom brainwashed us to hate him, but we really didn't like him because he was a neglectful alcoholic. Now that we're adults, he realizes how he effed up, and he's told our mom personally that he is thankful that she raised us the way she did. Exactly. She would be so sad about the cake her father brought. It might have ruined the party. You handled it the best way possible. No, that's a bad idea. He's going to be pissed regardless, but if you save it for a private party, it's going to humiliate the daughter in front of her friends, which is a big deal when you're 13, or any time, but especially if you're 13. The parachute was for the daughter, not the ex. Well, there is that to be happy about. This. NTA. He deserved to feel crafty because he acted crafty. Good for you for having the class and maturity to make him look good and save your daughter's feelings, all while you both know he was the NTA dude was seriously embarrassed that his poor behavior was so easy to predict that you had a contingency plan. Your friends are wrong, but they are coming from a place of sympathy for their friend, and because they want to keep peace in the friend group. It's understandable, but still wrong. Good for you, Mama. I understand them not wanting drama or whatever, but I feel like I'm the one having to do everything to keep the peace. Sigh. That's what happens when you're the reasonable one. Isn't it fun? And a woman. Yup. When my daughter had a huge blowout with her dad, his family kept telling her she needed to be the bigger person and keep the peace. I was so angry. She was 9, and she was expected to be the adult because the males in his family are used to being babied. He had no accountability. She hasn't spoken to him since. It's been 5 years. Whenever my dad would act out, my mom and myself would get blamed for it by my aunt, Dad's sister. She would rally that side of the family to bully us into forgiving my dad for being crap person. He's your dad, you can't hate him. It's been over 10 years, Mindy, I definitely hate him. This comment has 56 upvotes and no one is going to mention it refers to a person named Mindy? I don't think a first name has ever conjured up such a strong image of that person in my mind. Seriously. My first thought was, of course that would be her name, and, of course it's spelled that way. How does a grown man even have a blowout fight with a 9-year-old? Let alone expect the kid to be the adult in that situation? She didn't want to clean her plate and called her stepmother's dinner gross. I told her that was rude, which she acknowledged after. He blew up and started screaming that she was a loser who would never amount to anything, along with some other awful things. She didn't have the power to get her away from his destructive behavior before that, but he gave her the ammo that night. She hasn't been back since, and she's a different, much happier kid now. My son, his golden child, is happy continuing split custody, but I'm still trying to help my younger daughter. You would be amazed what CPS doesn't give a F about. Edit, to her credit, she didn't back down. She went toe-to-toe against a level of rage that gives me pause. My girl is a fighter, and she was done with his crap. Proves how well you've raised her in my opinion. She's obviously growing into a strong, confident woman who refuses to be belittled/intimidated by raging buttholes. Edit for autocorrect nonsense. That is terrible. I'm sorry you have to co-parent with that, but I'm glad you got your daughter away from it. Oh yay. Let joy be unconfined. You're a woman, so your whole job is to suck it up while he gets a medal for at least trying. I have no patience for keeping the peace when you're the one always giving. You handled this perfectly. NTA. He's a boat rocker and it's not your job to keep stabilizing it for everyone. If he wants to rock his boat until he gets wet, that's his problem. You and your daughter are already in another boat and keep it that way. Well done for making him realize what a vagina he did while still saving the day for her. She doesn't deserve to be a tool for him to show off his crappy parenting. NTA. This is exactly what pisses me off about this sort of situation. Sometimes it is honestly really hard to be the bigger person. He failed. He let his daughter down. Then he blamed you for it because for some reason, as the mother, you're expected to keep on top of everything, even things he said he could handle himself. I'm so sick of these kinds of people thinking women/mothers should be the managers of their lives. You are absolutely not the butthole here and he is a humongous butthole. NTA. Your ex set himself up to fail. You just made sure that your daughter's birthday didn't become a sacrifice to his grand gestures and ego. Prior preparation and planning prevents piss-poor performance. You planned ahead. Your ex didn't. Your daughter was happy and that's what matters in this scenario. His habit of making, and not keeping, these big promises is one of the smaller reasons he and I got divorced. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all from what you said in your post. I'm sorry you and your daughter had to deal with that. It's better to not make a promise to start with than one that you can't keep. Been there. My 22-year barely speaks to his dad. No longer visits, just coordinates with his ex-stepmom and pays for his half-bro to visit, from about 1,000 miles away. It's what my brother and I lose our trust in our mother. She'd promise us she'd do this and she'll do that, but it doesn't happen. We became heartbroken each time, and even more so when we eventually realized that they were all going to be sweet nothings. I learned psychologically, children take promises deeply. It's the one thing about establishing deep trust within the people that are close to them, the first being their parents since birth. Also, who gets their child's age wrong like that? Good on you for saving the day from excess narcissistic and terrible thinking. NTA. Jesus, that would be enough for me. The fact that it's one of the smaller reasons. Eek. IKR? I can't imagine how awful the big reasons were if this is small stuff. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.